Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And very good afternoon. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Salatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Yang berhormat Datuk Hajah Hanifah Hajah Taib, Deputy Minister of Economy. Yang berbahagia Datuk Yatimah Sajiman, Deputy Secretary General of the Ministry of Economy, my colleague Saudara Fabian Bika, the CEO of MyDIGITAL, Your Excellencies, High Commissioners and Ambassadors to Malaysia, Professor Dr. Sanjay Sarma, CEO, President and Dean of Asia School of Business, leaders of our technology immersion partners, Mr. Peter Murray, Country General Manager of AWS Malaysia, Mr. Patrick Wee, Country Manager Google Cloud Malaysia, Mr. Kiraman, Managing Director of Microsoft Malaysia, Ms. Catherine Lian, Managing Director and Technology Leader IBM Malaysia, and Mr. Terence Xiao, Director and Country Head C Limited. Fellow colleagues from the ministries and agencies, ladies and gentlemen, we hear this all the time, that digital transformation is good, AI is revolutionary, and organizations that make data-driven decisions would eventually outperform others that are left behind. Conversations about the benefits of digital have become trite. None of us in this room need to be convinced of the benefits of digital transformation any longer. But there must be an explanation as to why we are still stuck at this current state of technology development in this country. If everyone acknowledges that digital transformation is essential, there must be a reason why, despite 92% of Malaysians organizations considering digital transformation as a priority, yet only 17% have progressed beyond the infancy stage of technology adoption. To be sure, it is not necessarily for the lack of intent or motivation. In fact, many organizations have started building websites and social media accounts as the primary interface with users. And e-commerce platforms have been widely adopted by small businesses and sole traders to make money. Some organizations have even started to put up job advertisements for software engineers and data analysts to make better decisions in the long run. Larger organizations, companies, and government agencies, for example, have also embarked on large-scale digital transformation projects that follow a similar pattern. A leader gets excited to embark on a digital transformation project after attending a conference about AI, procures a consultant to design a roadmap, puts together an IT team of old and young, sets an ambitious timeline, and demands progress updates from week to week. We all have gone through this. It goes from smallest of organizations to large corporations, and in fact to the country. And MyDIGITAL, for example, was created as the project manager for such an IT project. It's not for a corporation, it's for the country. Malaysia actually has a digital blueprint, and the agency entrusted to oversee the implementation and transformation of such a blueprint is MyDIGITAL, which is under my ministry. But we all know more often than not, these tracking meetings fade away. Cost starts to overrun a few times over, and deadlines are missed repeatedly, that they are relegated to the background. This is another IT project. It happens everywhere. IT and other teams start to point fingers at each other, and the organizations loses morale in their aspirations of being a tech-first, user-friendly organizations that they initially desired. In the end, the organization looks similar to what it was before. Of course, a few millions burned along the way, but hardly a single innovation, a single application of analytics or machine learning models. In this country, we always blame the implementation and we always say that we have the best of planning. So we all have this problem from the highest level of the government and the nation all the way to organizations. I see colleagues from the big giants basically smiling because they must be telling themselves we got it right. But I think we all can accept that many organizations are also surprised when they find out that one of the earliest stages of building a tech-driven organization is to resolve the technical debt, which is to clearing up legacy systems, removing excessive infrastructure, migration to the cloud, and we're still talking about it in the public sector, repairing flows to the data lake. And all this has to be done even before the exciting parts could come in. And for this to happen, it takes a leadership that really understands the whole flow and the whole journey of a digital transformation. It's not just a roadmap put together by a consultant. It's the appreciation every time we talk about machine learning or analytics that most probably 80% of the work is about data cleaning before you can get to the sexy 20% of the later part of the journey. Unfortunately for us, the longer an organization delays this process, the higher the technical debt that will be accumulated. And we are facing this across the board in our organizations, companies, and especially in governments. Organizations that persevere through the finish line could reap the benefits of tech significantly faster than the rest. Through the years, many research papers, some of it could have been done here as well, have asked the question, what is the difference between organizations that have successfully digitalized and those that did not? Because we all started more or less at the same point with the same aspiration many moons, many decades ago. So, ladies and gentlemen, the key insight was that the critical success factor to digital transformation lies in the leadership, first and foremost. This doesn't mean that a leader needs to know how to code or deploy a model into production. I have some representative from ministries and agencies here. Fear not, we are not sending you to become software engineers. You do not need to code. I used to run a startup. I used to do an electronics engineering degree where a chunk of it was software engineering, and I really hated coding. But I realized one thing from earlier on, you only need to know the concept and then you'll be able to ask the right questions. Then your software engineers know not to bluff you. Because they know enough that while you do not go through the codes individually, you understand the architecture, you understand the product design, you understand the product market fit, you understand what each application has to deliver, and that's how we develop the overall team that can ensure a successful digital and tech transformation of any organization. An organization is more likely to be a digital transformation top performer if it is led by someone who understands how different technologies work, sees IT as one unit with others, and not see IT or tech as an ancillary service to the main product or to the main services. And most importantly, makes a personal commitment to prioritize digital transformation at the highest management level. A leader who is willing to get into detailed conversations with the IT and tech teams and dig into the root causes of a problem and appreciate the complexity of the frameworks. At the national level, the Ministry of Economy understands the urgency to act and the complexity of the task at hand. And as we have a blueprint and we implement this, we also understand that this appreciation must be pervasive enough, especially at the highest level of the public sector, because the public sector enablers must work hand in hand with the private and tech sectors in order to move the needle for the whole economy. At the base level, and we've been doing this for a long time, we are accelerating upskilling programs at scale through democratizing the access to training programs nationwide over and above what has been done before. We've talked about hackathons, we talked about startups, we've talked about training at the base level. But the difference now, we want to make sure that all these efforts in building the scale and capability in the economy must also be complemented by the readiness of the policy and public sector to make sure that the two jive together. That's why today we are here. I know that it will take some time before the country and society understand what is happening here, but it is out of that recognition that we are launching a one-of-a-kind digital leadership program called the Executive Leadership, Digital Leadership, or EDL program today. The EDL is a program that puts together senior leaders from the public and the private sector, and that's key. It is looking to curate a generation of public and private sector's leadership from across the board so that we can move policies and initiatives hand in hand on both sides of the fence. And it is not just targeted for leadership in Malaysia. It is targeted for leaders from all over the world. I've been to different countries and been pitching this to different nations, basically, that we hope over time we will have public and private sector leadership from around the world who come here and work together with our technology immersive partners and ASB, so that whatever countries, and not just Malaysia, plan to do with digitalization and tech, we can do this harmoniously and learn from each other. The ministry and MyDIGITAL Corporation have worked with the Asia School of Business to curate an action-oriented program catered specifically to senior leaders, so that leaders are not only equipped with the necessary tech knowledge, but also the toolkits to drive change. To make our program practical, outcome-driven, and sensitive to global best practices, we have introduced an important feature, which is to have the largest technology companies in the world play an immersive part throughout the program. And we are fortunate to have Google, Amazon, Microsoft, IBM, and Shopee to see Limited on board with us in this program. They will bring to the table their respective strengths, touching on data analytics, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and digital marketing through a series of case studies, lectures, mentoring, and site visits. Leaders who are handpicked from a rigorous selection process will go through the halls of ASB and the largest tech companies and be given an unrivaled view on how the best in the world does it. In parallel to what is happening here today, we are also pursuing a policy direction in government to make sure that selected leadership of agencies and ministries go through this program to prepare them for the overall switch to GovTech that is about to happen. Because otherwise, we can't be working on a blueprint to transform digital services, government services to digital. Yet at the same time, the leadership of public sector is not equipped to manage the transition. Campaigning was over about 2 weeks ago and I still suffer from sore throat. The next one is coming, unfortunately. So, ladies and gentlemen, just to end speech, the intensive 3-month program is meant to foster a community of leaders consisting of the world's brightest senior civil servants, industry captains, and venture pioneers who are ready to make an impact to their incumbent organizations. The government, through the Ministry and MyDIGITAL Corporation, has played and will continue to play an active role in shaping policies and programs like the EDL. Among others, we will co-fund the program to make it accessible to as many forward-looking leaders and high-growth companies as possible beyond the public sector. Today's launch is the first step in accelerating that progress to harness the power of data and technology. And we welcome leaders from all over the world to participate in this program. The government will be dedicating senior civil servants from every ministry to join the cohorts so that the government could also play our part in building a citizen-centered digital service, the often repeated GovTech that is now featuring in all over the place, in all our documents. And the opportunity hopefully will allow leadership from public and private sectors and high growth companies from all over the world to exchange views and culture in an environment of equals. Digital transformation starts with leadership transformation. The greatest innovation does not come from something out of reach to most of us. We can talk about LLMs, statistical methods, machine learnings, generative AI, and so on. But at the end of the day, innovation usually comes from something deeply familiar to us, which is the people, all of us, society. And that's the part where I think it's high time for the country to bridge the gap between the public and the private sector to drive the digital transformation together. So thank you for joining today's event. I'll drop by when the first cohort begins, most probably in November. I'll follow through the progress of the first cohorts and we'll see how it goes. But I hope we'll be seeing a much more cohesive transformation of Malaysia to become a tech leader in this region in the future. Thank you very much and hope to see all of you very soon.